All right. All right, guys. We are live. Thank you all for stopping by. My name is Antonio Bryce. I am the creator of the comic book series brand. We are currently on Indiegogo. We have raised $56,197 thanks to the kindness of folks such as yourself. And hey, I like to talk about comic books. So this is another stream in our creator series. And I have a very, very special guest with me. I've been reading this brother's book. It's called Bitterroot. It's on Image Comics. I know issue 4 is coming out February the 20th, and I've got a pre-order link in the description here for Bitterroot trade paperback that is coming on Amazon. I think it's May 21st. So without further ado, please welcome Sanford Greene.
How's it going, man? Thanks. That was a great introduction there, brother.
Hey, man, big fan. I appreciate you doing this for us and showing up. I definitely want to talk about Bitterroot. I made sure I reread it. I reread the first 3 issues.
Big words and all, right?
Yo, boy, yeah. What's that? He's actually my favorite character.
He's a lot of folks' favorite.
I dig him. Yeah. It's like, all right, Anthony something. Hey, Sanford. Hey, Antonio. All right. Hey, how you doing, man? Appreciate it. Hank Solo, I see you out there, brother. Appreciate you, Papa Kanishu. Appreciate you coming by. And as always, guys, get your questions up and. We'll the Grady, hey, everybody said hello. So, but while the chat falls in,
yep.
Let's just start at the beginning. How did you first come into comics, or even just what brought you to comics? Wanting read, who did you read, and then go into how you started wanting to be a professional.
You know what? I came with visual aid, man. I can show you some visuals here. Can you guys, I don't know if you can see. Can you see this behind me right here? It's a little dark in here. I'm sorry. This is
I can see you.
This is my, oh my goodness, I'm making a mess here. This is my spinner rack.
I love the spinner. They do riding spinners, man. They don't stop.
Well, here, actually, I have the very first comic I ever bought.
Okay.
See, without the glare. Very first comic I ever bought as a kid, Avengers. What is that? 191.
Okay, is that during Roger Stern's run, or
this is? Well, you know what? This might be written by Stern and John Byrne. It's actually David Mussolini. If you know David, do you know David's work? I know John.
You talking about Devil in the Bottle, David Michelini? You talking about that David Michelini, Venom?
I guess I'm not.
Yeah. Trust me, I'm familiar. And I would love to talk to him actually.
Oh yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. Well, this is it's not the actual first printing of it, but it is the actual comic that I bought. I rebought it about 5-6 years ago. But yeah, this is the very first book I ever bought as a kid. Spinner rack in local Kmart, man. So I was just floored by all the characters. I was trying to understand why this guy in the middle, the Great Gargoyle, I was like, why is he winning this fight against all these superheroes? That fascinated me as a kid. So I just asked my mom, can I read this, or can I have this? And she said, if you're going to read it, sure. And the addiction started from there.
I love it, man. I actually still have the first comic my dad gave me when I guess I was like 7. It's Amazing Spider-Man number 243, if I'm not mistaken, done by Roger Stern and John Romita Jr. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So your dad was into comics.
No, I was just a little brat bugging him at the store while he was buying some beer, and I saw there was a rack right. They used to still have those in the stores where I came from.
Absolutely. Yeah,
and
in the local gas stations and drugstores. Oh, they also had them in, like I said, I got my first comic, this comic, from the local Kmart.
Mm. Do they still have Kmart's? Because
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, because they shut those down around where I'm at.
Yeah, they're pretty much gone. But this is where it all came from, right here, man.
Yeah, I saw those. They've got those 100-page DC books that are now starting to pop back up in the WalMarts. For like $5. I thought that was a cool idea. I miss going to like a supermarket and seeing the comics, in the little book. Hell, I don't know if we'll ever have magazine. Maybe another 10 years, there might not actually be printed books. You know what I'm saying? They'll just be like maybe electronic, digital, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is sad, though. I kind of like having that paper in my hand and everything.
Well, I think to some degree, yes, there will be the digital will probably be more prominent, but I think it's the printed medium is still going to be around on some level. I think the trade. Well, just to be candid here, working on Bitterroot, most of you guys, if you follow, if you know the infrastructure of the comic medium, especially from the independent side, because technically, even though Image is a well-known brand, it's still independent publisher. They handle all the what we call non-corporate comics. DC and Marvel, or pretty much the biggest of the corporate comics companies. But I say all that to say that working with my own property now, I work a lot more behind the scenes, so I know all about what number, how to what numbers are good numbers as far as sales. I know why they pull certain books or why they cancel certain books. Is not a lot of times people get really upset on social media because a book is canceled, and they love the book, they may love the creators, but it's really, and that goes with anything, it's the bottom line. The bottom line is, if it's not meeting that bottom line, the expectations, they cancel it. I don't care if it's Spider-Man. If Spider-Man XYZ is not selling, they're going to cancel it, but they will still have some form of Spider-Man. They will have some form of something from the printed side. A few, 10, 15, maybe even 20 years ago, we had how many different X-Men books, how many different Spider-Man books. Of course, independents were big as well, with the Image boom and what have you, which I think, man, I think the Image boom might even be more than 20 years now. That's like 25 years.
Yeah, they're past the 25 year. I think 27 actually.
Oh God, we're hitting 30 years, man. Getting old, man. But those types of things are really what the companies, they look at those numbers, and I think most people kind of know that now, but there's still that those voices that really are upset about how comics, certain titles get canceled, and I'm sorry, I'm going on a tangent here, man, but you kind of made me think about.
No, that's what we want. That's
right.
The thing. I want you to
ramble. That's what
that's what I want to hear your thoughts in your voice. You're actually a professional working in this industry. I want to,
Yeah. Well, yeah, like I said, long story short, being behind the scenes a lot more now. When I was at Marvel, they handled everything. They handled sales, distribution, and True Image handles a lot of that. But in terms of promotion, they also give us the inside numbers, like what we did each month. We have, of course, direct lines to all the retailers. Of course, we have a direct line with Diamond. It's pretty insane. I mean, we're literally behind the veil, and man, it's interesting right now, and I can see based on what you're saying, they're not being printed, not lasting, but just kind of knowing what I know from being kind of behind the scenes now, I can say that it is going to take a turn. It's taking a turn slowly but surely now. As a matter of fact, I don't want to jump the gun too much, but what we're doing with Bitterroot, honestly, is what we're going to do is going to be a little different from what we started. I can't really go too much into that, but it is because of how the market is right now, and that's not just for us; that's across the board, and just where we see things heading in the near future. So, yes, there will be digital, but there will still be printed as well. It's just a matter of the format they're going to go about, how they're going to go about it. It's going to be a lot more graphic novels, a lot more collected. It's like the European format. If you're
Right.
familiar with that.
Yeah, trust me. They always try to throw those 2000 AD and all that in there. And I don't know. I've read some of those British books. Yeah,
Yeah.
Judge Dredd is cool though.
Right. Well, Judge Dredd is pretty much it. In terms of like the popular properties, from the British side of things. But I mean, I think even better example is probably more of what they do with not so much the the 2000 ADs or what have you, but what they do with the albums. They put out these 48, 60 page hardcover, prestige format editions once every 4 months, or some even once a year. It's just depending. It just depends on how much content is in those each volume. Can we put enough content in each volume to where you are completely satisfied with the story, where it is, where it ends, where it starts and where it ends. It's almost kind of like thinking what's the name of that company? I think they're called TKO or something like that, where they're doing like you get 5 comics, you're going to get all 5 issues at once, or the trade at once. I think that's the name of the company, TKO. I think they're
Yeah, and I'm digging it. They've got a book called Sarah
uh-huh.
that is being done by Garth Ennis that I
Oh,
love, and yeah, and I mean it's dope. And a young lady by the name of Elizabeth Brightweiser colored that book, which
yeah.
that's something I wanted to actually ask you about. I noticed as I was looking up, your catalog of different books you worked on, and all that. Man, you like a jack of all trades, man. I thought you was Jamaican, man. You got 15 jobs. You look like, you color, you ink, you pencil, you do cover work. I'm like, so how is that? So is that just out of necessity? Did you work on a lot of indie? What was your first professional work?
Oh man. Okay, that was like 3 questions in one. So let me see if I can parse that. Started working. My first professional work, the one that I count personally, is Dark Horse. At Dark Horse, I did a one shot for Planet of the Apes. So I jokingly tell people I drew monkeys at first. So that's a little bit of a dig, but I drew that. It was based on the Tim Burton film, and so that's where my first work came from. And then I think another part of that statement question was being a jack of all trades. I mean, honestly, it's because I'm a control freak. I guess that's the best way to put it, man. There's not a whole lot. I mean, I think because I have there's a lot of artists that you'll find that's in this realm. They ink, they color, they do the whole deal, because it's not because I just want to be the only person on it, but at the same time, that's why I do want to do it. I do, because I think my vision and my voice is unique, and what I have in my head, it's hard for someone else to come in and convey that. Even if I give the most detailed notes on how to color something. And I will say this, Rico Renzi, the colorist for Bitterroot, he's probably the closest, and bless that dude, because I put him through the ringer every issue. Because again, my head, what's in my head, it's what I see. I'm trying to convey it to him, and he's very flexible. He takes I give a lot of notes. I'm like a mean professor to some degree. I just mark up your term paper and tell you to go back and do it again. But again, that's why I do it, because my vision for things is just really hard to convey to other folks. And there are some, I will say this, there are artists or colorists who will come in and color my work, and they may do something better than what I envision. So that too is why I, every once in a while I'll relinquish the those duties. But inking wise, I think that's a lot of artists start to do that. They started to do that about 5-8 years ago, maybe 10 years ago now. Artists who fall in the vein of cartooning, artists like Scotty Young, or
love his stuff,
like Paul, even a Paul Pope, who's very unique in his talents. Someone like even like new guys like what's his name, Daniel Warren Johnson. I don't know if you know his work. His stuff is insane.
I need to check him out. I'm always always try to peep people out and stay on game.
You'll dig his work. His commissions are he does commissions in a way that I've never seen anyone do commissions the way he does scenes. He doesn't do a character. He does scenes. If you want a Spider-Man commission, he would draw Spider-Man sitting on a ledge, looking down on the street with people walking by with scaffolds and all. I mean, it's just insane. I'm like, whoa, it's literally a story. So, and he's really kind of got me, what's the word, creatively, he's kind of he's got my creative juices going when I see his work. So that's why I like doing it, because I love being able to play with different compositions and layouts and concepts. And the only way that I can really truly enjoy that is that I have complete control for the most part. So
okay, got a few people in the chat, and they are digging being able to see your workspace. They are digging that.
So, you see the well, let's see, what do I have here? What do I have? Well, I just showed you earlier. This is what I'm holding in my hand. This is one of my prized possessions. I got a lot of this kind of stuff. It's Michael Golden's art portfolio for G.I. Joe, G.I. Joe Annual. And it's all of his pages. Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
So you get to see what his work looked like original size. This is all that IDW stuff that they publish. They love to publish the full-scale formatted projects. I got one over here you guys can't see. It's the artist Al Williamson's Star Wars. If I get enough energy, I'll stand up and I'll go over there and grab it and show it to you guys. But I'm a little comfortable right now.
So one thing I'd ask you right before we went live is you're actually doing everything traditional style. You don't believe in that digital or...
Well, you know what's funny? You can't really see it. Maybe if I can drag it here. Can you see the corner of that? That's my Cintiq right there.
Oh, so okay, because that's my artist, Kanan White. He definitely has a Cintiq. He's mostly digital. We did offer a perk on our Indiegogo where some of the backers could buy traditional pages.
Sure.
He did traditional pages when he worked with Kyron Gillian on Uber.
Oh yeah.
And they did Uber together, and he did what was that over at Avatar, I think, and he did traditional art on that, but then he switched to digital. I know he did was Harlem Hellfighters with Max Brooks that wrote World War Z, and then he did Son of Shaolin with a guy named Jay Longino, and I know both of those projects have been picked up. The Rock has picked up Son of Shaolin. They're doing that over at Sony, and then Harlem Hellfighters, Will Smith's production company, is doing a mini series on that.
Wow.
And, they're doing that. So, but Kanan works digitally unless I make him do something else.
Right.
He really, but his style is so detailed, and I think that's really he has all the little cross hatching, and it's like, my goodness,
who's his influences?
Man, he's cited so many.
Okay.
Like a Dennis Cowan or something. I saw a review of his work that actually compared him to Joe Kubert style, which I thought was, I love Joe Kubert because it's not over the top, but he's got kind of a 90s image kind of flavor to his.
I don't think it's a little combination of 90s image format.
Yeah, the anatomy's not over the top. I mean, everything is just hyper detailed and realistic. I just like the way he draws the characters. He has brings a lot of energy, and I like the way he lays the pages out. But it kind of made me think, because you were talking about being a control freak. I know when I've been, I created Brand in 1998 in June. That was when I first had the idea to do this book. And, just having to, I was like 24, 25 years old. And, I just couldn't get it. I was like, maybe it'll be a movie. Maybe it'll be a novel. Maybe, I couldn't figure out what it was going to be. And then as things went forward, I said, okay, it's definitely a comic. But I didn't have an artist. And, then I was on Instagram and DeviantArt and ArtStation. I was just looking for different artists that could possibly, kind of help me, bring my vision to life. And I found a couple that I thought were cool. And, man, it was awesome. I found Kanan White, and I almost didn't hire him because he works digitally so much. But the art spoke to me.
Right.
It was, I was like, this brother is legit.
Yeah.
And but I find that when I was trying to test colorists, his style has so much it's so detailed and everything that some people put the colors on and they don't look good. And then we found this guy named Kid Icarus just kind of mulling around, and he just makes everything pop. Everything, the colors just, so I can definitely be a control freak. Sometimes I'll get stuff turned into me and I go, I don't like the way that looks. And we have to go back and do some tweaking. So when you said that about kind of being a control freak, it kind of made me think that. So I could appreciate that.
Yeah, man. I mean, at the end of the day, you have to be happy. If you're happy with it, more than likely people are going to be happy with your work. Or if you feel satisfied, I shouldn't even say happy, because I don't think I'm ever happy with my work. I don't know too many artists that are happy with their work, or at least the ones that I tend to have conversations with. They're very critical of their work, but they're also great. But they are their worst critic. And I think that's what makes them great, is that they know that, oh man, I could have stepped it up on this image or this character or story or whatever. And you're looking at it and you're like, where would you step it up? It's already amazing. But that, I can appreciate that and I can respect that because it shows that they're hungry. So I try to, that's part of why I'm so, hands-on.
Oh no, definitely. And one thing I can say about the people that are working on brand, we have a very diverse group of creators that are helping to bring this comic to life. But that's one thing I talked about with Kanan. I noticed when I was getting back some of the colors that, like we've got a bunch of different minority characters and stuff going around, and you get the colors and guy wasn't used to coloring. It's like, oh man, there's a lot of black people. This one's brown. This one's Spanish. This kind of, right. And the colors work right. And I was telling Kane, I was like, yeah, we got to work on that because
everyone looks like straight chocolate.
Exactly. and Kanan knew exactly what I was talking about because I was just like, yeah, I was like, and I had to talk to him. I was like, I need to make sure that when we have these, okay, this character's Puerto Rican. I need these characters. I need these shades to be a little different. I need that red bone caramel complexion, and
right.
We had to tweak it a little bit because some of the things. There's a group in the book that there's a character called Fame, and he's kind of a pimp, a street hustler, and then his side chick is she's the one that kind of helps him keep the other girls in line and help him run his little hustles, is a chick named Rita, and she's like Puerto Rican and stuff. So I need to make sure that when I was getting these colors, that everything, I was like, dude, everybody's like too dark, everything, it just wasn't looking right, But yeah, I know I drive Kanan crazy. I know I drive Icarus crazy. I know I get on their nerves, but I just people have spent, like I said, over $56,000 to bring this project to life.
Right.
I want this to give them their money's worth.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And that's one thing I can say. When I look at Bitterroot, I was like, the colors kind of like vivid but muddy. Just the way you drew the characters. I actually want to talk about how long were you in the development stage? Because I know when I finally got down and I was like, okay, we're doing brand, then I really, really started digging into how the characters were and everything. So,
well, yeah. So you're asking how were the characters developed, or
like because how did the initial idea? I know you worked with one of the creators on, what was it, Power Man and Iron Fist?
Yeah, that's Maven. Yep.
Yeah. So you guys, that was a good book. I'm surprised that actually got canceled, or was that supposed to be just a limited run? Or
well, I can answer that and then answer the Bitterroot question. Yes, it goes back to what I was saying earlier about the bottom line with corporate comics. They will completely cut off anything that doesn't meet a certain threshold, even if it's critically acclaimed or fan favorite, whatever you want. Truth be told, part of it was, to be really candid, was they had the Luke Cage show and the Iron Fist show, but they didn't have a Power Man Iron Fist show. They were really, the shows kind of dictated where they wanted to go with the books. It was too much for them, which I don't really agree with, but it's too much for them to have a Power Man and Iron Fist book, a Luke Cage book, and an Iron Fist book, right? It was either, so they just decided to let that one go. Now, mind you, I do believe, again, it's about the bottom line, if that book had sold several 100,000 copies, and it's done way in the world, it would stop it. Right.
Yeah. It's all about the bag.
It was just in that sweet spot enough for them to kind of justify their decision. See what I'm saying? Well, we knew that it was, they wanted us to do a few other things We just didn't know if it was. I don't think it was. It wasn't the best fit for where we wanted to go. So we decided to go ahead and while we had some heat behind us, to go ahead and launch the Bitterroot book, or start working on it. So to some degree, I was working on the characters even during the time of Power Man and Iron Fist. So because the idea was just such a fresh idea. Chuck Brown, the other creator, he had the spark of the idea about doing something during the Harlem Renaissance, and I just thought that was kind of a fresh time period. Because there's so much there, but at the same time, there's been a lot of things done during that time, but nothing done to where it kind of made it a little more fantastical. I tend to kind of relate my initial excitement to I related to the movie Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Yes. Okay.
Only because of the feel of it, right? Story, you can go. It's neither here nor there, but the idea of it was really, I thought, was kind of dope, because they used that time period and they put this fantastical stuff within that time period. I think it was like the 40s or in New York. And I'm like, you know what? Harlem Renaissance, that's an easy fit for that kind of storytelling with the magic and fantasy and horror. I mean, all that stuff can easily translate to that time period. So I just started designing a lot of stuff that's kind of tied into all those worlds, So that's how we came up with the steampunk element.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask you, because I was like, your brother Cullen, he got the gloves with the backpack, and I was like, yeah, you got like that steampunk vibe going, and I was digging that.
Yeah. So it was like, I mean, again, those elements, they fit so well in that time period. It just makes a lot of sense. Truth be told, I actually got the steampunk aspect of it from a family of cosplayers, a black family of cosplayers. I forgot. I think it might have been Dragon Con. Have you ever been to Dragon Con?
Oh, dude, I was supposed to go to about 2 years ago, and then we ended up having a situation pop up, and I wouldn't go because I mean, I'm only about 4 hours away from Atlanta, so I was like, I'm definitely wanting to go. I'd love to go out there and sign books.
Oh yeah, I mean, you would absolutely love it. And I saw this family that dressed up as like the steampunk. They had on suits, and it was like the whole family, the mom, the dad, the kids. And I'm like, wow, this is really cool. And then it just hit me. I'm like, that's it. This should be this time period needs to have like this kind of element to it, the steampunk element. So we pitched, we started throwing around ideas about a family and what is this family doing in Harlem? What's their purpose? They own this kind of tonsorial haberdashery kind of place where, because that's what was done back then, where you had a all inclusive store where you can go get your shoe shine and at the same time maybe get a haircut or maybe see some medic, or what have you. And we're gonna play up more on that in the second arc, but we just wanted to get the characters out there. But long story short, all that stuff we started getting flooded with ideas, and David came in and really helped to shape and mold everything so we can have a pretty solid world. So our world goes all the way back to, Africa, and all the folklore there. But it can go honestly all the way into the future if we, just by the way we're building the world. So yeah, I mean, I'm still designing characters. Honestly, I'm still designing parts for the world and the folklore and the mystique and all that stuff. A lot of stuff I design as I go. Whatever kind of creature I might I'm making up something right now on this page. You guys can't see it. I'm not going to show it.
That's what I was about to ask. Get a little sneak preview.
Not for this, but yeah, we got a few things that we're going to be announcing real soon, so you can stay tuned for that.
I'll definitely do it. But I mean, I just love one thing I like about the books is you put like little concept sketches and stuff in the back of all of them. You know, you put a little Black history in the back. I was like, it's really deep, man. I really like how y'all put it down on that book, man.
Thanks.
I was like, I thought, I remember a couple months ago I was speaking to a buddy of mine, Jamal Baraka, and I was man,
that sounds familiar.
Well, he actually has one of the largest I guess Black nerd communities on Facebook. It's got like 250,000 people. I mean, yeah, he's in does a blog, Garbage to Your Media reviews and stuff like that. So Jamal's just real dope. And you know, I was like, it was a couple months ago, I was like, hey, I was looking, Sanford Greene's been showing some art for something called Bitterroot. He was like, yeah, man. I mean, he be knowing about the books. He be knowing. And I was like, I need to peep that. That looks dope, man. I was like, just when I first started seeing you like tweeting and showing stuff on Instagram and stuff, I was like, yeah, I need to know about that. The concept of it just spoke to me.
Right.
And it's not, I talked about this when Steve Englehart was on. Sometimes I don't like the way minority characters are portrayed in comics.
Right.
You know, it seems like a lot of times that's one of the things I liked about Steve's writing. Like if he writes Jon Stewart, he's not writing Black Jon Stewart. He's just writing Jon Stewart.
Right. Right.
You know, and that's the thing. And that's the difference. He treats the character with respect. So it's not, you know, hey, need a token Black guy here. Boom. You know, it's like that kind of deal. And I felt specifically in Bitterroot, there was at the end of book 1 and going into book 2, you were down in Mississippi, and you had the one character, you had that situation pop off, and your man, you know, had to take care of business and take he took, but there was one that was still around. And that character wasn't marginalized.
Right.
That character, I like how y'all did with him because he started off in a bad place and I started to like him.
Yeah.
And that was it was just you know, I don't know, I just really dig the way y'all developed the characters. It was everybody wasn't one dimensional. It looks like y'all really have a deep backstory. Everything's really developed. I mean, the art pages are just beautiful, and I just man, it was man. I'm looking forward to issue 4, and I'm ordering the trade paperback actually. So
absolutely, I appreciate that, and you know, and that's. I'll tell you, David and Chuck, you know, their writing tandem, they have different. I think what makes the writing and the story so fresh is that they definitely have 2 different viewpoints on. You all right, man? You get this look.
No, I'm reading some stuff in the chat, and I'm like,
okay.
I was like, bro, you wilding? What are you doing?
I don't know if we need to put it out.
Yeah. No, I'm not. Yeah, like if ever, you know, like I said, but I do have a couple questions for you. Just go ahead.
Sure. You know, as a quick sidebar, we haven't had a whole, at least to my knowledge, we haven't had a whole lot of controversial feedback on what we're doing. A lot of what we've got, most of everything what we've got, from the writing to the art to just even some of what we're doing in the backs for the back matter, it's all been tremendous support and just what people are really inspired by it. So I'm one of those. I'm always kind of in the mind of, all right, the shoe's going to drop at any point. in time. I don't know. Maybe, you know, now or later. You know, maybe that's it right there. That might be one. Right? That could be one right there. You know, but you know, that type of thing is it's kind of few and far and in between. So I'm a little surprised, but at the same time, I'm definitely encouraged by that, because I think it's I think that there's enough of the trolling out there for all kinds of things, and those things are definitely how should I say, they're it's just noise. It gets to the point to where it's like, all right, I can't even focus on who's saying what now, because there's so much of the back and forth on things. So it's great to have conversations, you know, live conversations. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm doing me, David, and Chuck. We're doing speaking engagements at universities, because, you know, the internet is just what it is, you know. And hey, if you have any kind of voice, any kind of real opinion about something, then I would love to sit with you face to face, not behind a computer. But, you know, if you want to roll like that, if that's how you roll, if you want to be, you know, suspect like that, then so be it. That's on you, though. I can lay my head down, knowing full well that we are putting out something that is unique, and that is, for every one naysayer, there's 1,000 supporters. So, you know,
it's a beautiful read. Like I said, I'm really enjoying the book. Yeah, it's and we are talking with Sanford Greene, one of the co-creators of Bitterroot, that is out on Image Comics, and we have the link to pre-order it on Amazon right now. We've got Bitterroot #4 coming on February the 20th. I've got a couple questions and a statement from the chat. Let me go with, okay, so Cute Nerd asks, as an artist, do you make the characters and your writer have to fill in the blanks, so to speak? How do you guys work together to make the vision come to life?
Yes. we all work together. As a matter of fact, we're having a meeting tomorrow about the second story arc. So we all come together once a month. I would say Chuck and David, they speak every week. I speak to each of those guys every week, but we all come together, all three of us, maybe even bring in our editor, Heather Antos, bring her in. And we just have a big powwow to discuss the overall story. So yeah, it's a little bit of all of those things.
Okay. And then let me see here. This is from Geek Assault. He says, congratulations on all the success, Sanford and Ikari. That's me. All right. Much love and respect from Columbia, South Carolina. I still own a copy of Superman that Sanford signed over 10 years ago. Heroes and Dragons comics.
Oh, man. He's a
blessed day. So, yeah.
The homeboy right there, man. You're reaching all over, man. That's local for me. Tell what's the brother's name again?
Geek Assault.
Okay, well, who's to say that's a brother? That could be a sister but most sisters wouldn't call themselves Geek Assault. Yeah, so I stand corrected. That's a brother. But tell him thank you. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate the support.
I believe he's a guy.
Yeah.
But let me see here. And again, Kennel Dwight, man, I can't say that. Your name is so ethnic, it's ethnic. Okay, but I can read your question. It says, can Sanford talk about his and David's approach to the Civil War II crossover during Power Man and Iron Fist, and the constraints imposed by the cycle of crossover events?
Wow, that's a good one. That's part of the reason why we got canceled because there was just too much political back and forth, what the characters should be doing, what they can't do. Again, Luke Cage was about to come out, TV show, Iron Fist was about to come out. They didn't want those characters going. We were pushing those characters and developing those characters in such a way to where it was going to be contrary to what you saw on the television show. So those are the biggest constraints. Yeah, I mean, we did the best that we could. We definitely felt like we had something really good going. People were really supportive, but at the same time, you got to deal with the powers that be. So that's pretty much where we ended. We had to close it out, but I felt like we did a good job.
Okay. So the brother corrected me. Let me see here. He's got it spelled phonetically for me because I couldn't say that shit. I was like, canoe. It's canoe you act. Okay, so I was like, all right, canoe you act. I was like, oh, man, that's
sounds like a character, man. Sounds something we can put in backstory of Bitterroot, man.
No, man. I really, like I said, I really like how all your characters look. I really dig, the way it just looked like y'all really spent. I don't know how much time you spent, like actually getting everything together before y'all, actually started creating the book. But it just looked like you spent a couple months really developing and getting everything down to the nitty gritty.
Mm-hmm.
Did you do research? Any of that?
Oh yeah. We're still researching, man. I mean, I listen to a lot of talk podcasts and talk radio, NPR, a lot of audiobook based on that time period or around that time. And man, we got a story. We have a story that's hang on real quick. I'm live, Okay. You gotta go to your room. And scene. You get to see me be a father there for a second.
That's the young generation, all right.
Oh yeah. But what was I saying? I lost track.
I'd ask you about the research and stuff. I mean, because you got stuff like the Harlem Renaissance. Obviously, you're down, and then you're down there in Mississippi, and you're dealing with issues down there. And even touched. I noticed in one, you even kind of touched on looked like Black Wall Street in Tulsa. And so, I mean, yeah, it was deep, man. I was really feeling it. I was like, oh wow, okay.
Well, wait until you see what we have coming up next. I think you'll really dig where we're going with that part of the story of the background. And I'll just leave it there.
Yeah, well, like I said, I'm very much looking forward to reading these last two issues of this first story arc.
Mm-hmm.
What I also wanted to ask you is, I saw you had like about 4 or 5 variant covers, and a couple of them stood out. Obviously, Dennis Cowan and Mike Mignola, there's a lot of Hellboy influence.
Yes.
In my book. So when I saw the Mike Mignola cover, I was like, oh.
Well, I will say this. I'll share this this story with you. So a lot of folks were asking me, well, how did you get Mike to do a cover? He's not one to do a lot of this stuff. Well, he's made it known that he only does stuff that he really likes. Okay. He doesn't do it for the check. He doesn't do it for attention or whatever. He does stuff that he likes. So people were pretty, taken back that he did my cover. Well, first of all, if he did it, that meant he liked it. So that was already enough of a affirmation for me. But we were in San Diego last year and at Comic-Con, And I went over to his booth and table just to thank him, and I know, I know that he's very busy, and he's not, just lack of better words, he's not the most social person. He's not mean or anything. He just, he's kind of short and says what he needs to say. So I didn't want to take up any of his time, so I just said to him, Mr. Mignola, I'm Sanford, and of course he knew who I was, which was cool, and he told me he really enjoyed doing the cover, and I'm like, oh, that's so much, thank you so much. I was going to be on my way, and he called me back and he said, hey, would you like to check the cover out? He said, I have it with me. I'm like, oh, awesome. So he put it in my hand, and I'm looking at it and I'm really admiring it, and I said to him, oh, this is so beautiful, and I hand it back to him, and he does this, and I'm like, what are you doing? What was this? What does this mean? And he said, it's yours. And I'm like,
oh wow,
about to pass out, man. I was so I'm going to show you now. I can't show you this, so you guys get a little bit of an exclusive. I do.
Oh, here we go.
This is the original. It's going to get framed soon. It's going to get framed really soon.
Right.
So, and here's something that no one's really seen. I haven't shown this yet. It's not super significant, but it is at the same time. Can you see that? It's
I can see it. Yes.
That looks like he started on the Hellboy cover and decided to stop, and then he did this. So I got on the other side a Hellboy semi-sketch in the original cover. So I got to find a way to frame this and show the back of it, like an open frame or something. So yeah, this was the highlight of my Comic-Con last year.
Okay. I'm like, man, I'm digging it. Okay.
You got to come back to earth, man.
Okay. So, all right, because we're getting close to the end here, guys. So I see a couple more questions. Let me see here. So Geek Assault has come back and he said, laugh out loud, I'm a brother. Sanford was featured in a calendar for Black History Month in South Carolina. Dude's a true legend and pioneer around our way. Much respect. All right, so there you go.
Wow. Okay. I had no idea I was in a calendar.
Yeah, well, hey,
I like to get this calendar. That's pretty crazy.
Sounds like Black History was bootlegging your photos.
Hey, man, there's one thing that we're good for is some bootleg stuff.
Oh yeah, trust me.
Good.
I'm already getting wind that, like, when we get the digital files prep, people are already like, so what do you think about comics piracy? And I'm like, that tells me that you about to pirate my book.
You about to go in on my property. Yeah, that's one of those things where it's one of those things where I don't know. I think you got enough people that loves your work, they'll support it. You got a few knuckleheads that'll run around and pirate it or whatever. But hopefully you will have some of those people that will actually go out and support it. So you can't really get around it. I mean, it's everywhere. So.
Okay, let me see here. Okay. Oh, man, I got one more question, but I wanted to ask you a book with Method Man that I saw, and I was like, what was that like? Because I'm a big Wu-Tang fan.
Dude, that was pretty surreal, man. That was a long time ago. Now it's like 10 years ago. 2007, 8, somewhere around there. And yeah, it was pretty surreal, man. Method Man is a true comic. He's into it, man. I mean,
I've seen him on with Kevin Smith on Comic Book Men and stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's going after. I mean, he's like hardcore. He's like going after like rare originals and all that stuff.
Yeah,
I need to check that. I wonder if that episode is on YouTube or whatever. I like to see that episode.
I think there's some clips of it. I don't know if but I mean, hell, he was only in that one segment, so you might be able to at least see his part.
Right.
But let me see here. I got another question for maybe you got time for maybe one more question after this one, guys, because I got to get Sanford out of here. But let me see here. Anthony Sumi. I hope I said that right. I'll be saying people's name wrong. And this is about Heather Antos. It said Heather seems to get a lot of flack on the internet, but how is she to work with as an editor, and how is the role of the editor different on a creator-owned book?
Well, this whole thing of her getting flack, you know, that's a handful of busters, you know. You know, it's just a handful, and the internet can kind of magnify that kind of thing. Outside of that, she's really well loved and respected. Working with her has been a pleasure. She's a total professional.
Well, the books read well, so I mean,
hey, we hired her for what she does well. We didn't hire her for controversy. As a matter of fact, truth be told, I didn't even know she had all that whatever, you know, nonsense that these people are trying to spew about her. I didn't know much about any of that stuff, that milkshake thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Anything about it. I knew about the milkshake thing, but not the controversy behind it. And because someone made a comment, oh man, you guys got Heather Antos to edit your books, and I was like, why? Is that a problem? And as well, you know, she's the, you know, blah 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 milkshake. I'm like, really? You guys are flipping out over girls having milkshakes? That's the most. Oh my God, it's so silly. It's silly. Anyway, I think that she's definitely a pleasure to work with, and you know, we wish her well with her new endeavor over at Valiant. So
yeah, I saw that. I saw that.
Yep.
But again, I mean, I really think Bitterroot is special. I mean, it's a special book. I really enjoyed every second of reading it. I love the way the colors pop. I love the way all the characters came to life for me. Like I said, it's got a little bit of that steampunk flavor, which I dig. Might have to steal some of that from you, brother. I'm sorry, but maybe do a crossover one day.
Steampunk is public domain, man. So you know, you can do your thing.
But yeah, man. Like I said, I really again, guys, Bitterroot issue 4 should be out at your local comic shop February the 20th. And if you look in the description here for this video, there is a link to the Bitterroot trade paperback, which will be on Amazon.com May 21st. And you guys can get the pre-order like I did, because I am very much looking forward to getting that. Sanford, how can people reach out to you if they want to, you know, talk to you? I don't know if you do commissions. I see some people asking, do you do commissions and all this kind of stuff? And
I do commissions. I'm doing some now, but unfortunately, you have to be going to a show that I'm attending.
So you're not mailing no mail in, because I've gotten some commissions through the mail and stuff. So.
Yeah. I don't mind that. I just don't have the time for it right now. These are mainly for conventions that I'll be appearing at. I'm going to be at Emerald City.
Ooh, okay. I always love that. Okay, I've been wanting to go to that con. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then I'm doing a local show here at SCCon for the homeboy there that's from Columbia. But SCCon is in Greenville, South Carolina.
Okay.
Is March. That's March. All these shows are in March, man. I think March is insane. You got Emerald City, C2E2, WonderCon, SCCon. I mean, it's insane. I'm like, yeah. I mean, there's no such thing as con season anymore, so it's all spread out. But yeah, I'll be at Emerald City. That's where most of my commissions are coming from at the moment. But if you're a person that loves to persevere, just hit me up. every couple of weeks or months or whatever, and see where I'm at, and we'll see if we can get you squared away.
All right, all right. And I follow you both on what is it, Instagram and on Twitter, and I do appreciate when I reached out that you responded, and so that is a good sign normally. All right.
Yeah, I figured, hey, every little bit helps here, man. Like I said, we're doing this. Creator owned is a whole nother animal, man. Marvel, DC, yeah, I'll do some interviews, and yeah, I'll do some signings here and there. But this is another beast right here, man. It's like we literally are we're the machine, if you will, as far as promotion and what have you.
Okay, so we got Geek Assault saying he just pre-ordered Bitterroot and Junkyard Done, saying that the art looks amazing and he's excited to read the story as well. And Amazon pre-order, here I come. All right, guys, we're going to wrap this one up. I do truly want to thank Mr. Sanford Greene for giving us this time tonight. This was a great chat. Hopefully we can talk again sometime. It was a privilege, sir. I do want to thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
And
I'm sorry.
Yes, go for it.
One more thing. We have our new online store, bitterroot.bigcartel.com.
Okay, good. I'll add that to the description then. I'll put that in the chat. Just yeah, I definitely, because like I said, I really enjoyed Bitterroot. I think it's a special book, and I definitely am looking forward to reading the rest of it. It's fantastic. I again, thank you so much. I can just see the love on the pages, brother.
Oh, well, hey, man, more where that came from.
I'm looking forward to it, man. This is like I said, I appreciate you coming on tonight, guys. But guys, we're gonna wrap it up. Again, big thanks to Sanford Greene for showing up tonight and answering these questions and just letting me geek out a little bit. But with that being said, we're gonna wrap this one up. If you want to reach out to me, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and right here on this YouTube channel. Everywhere is at Ikari Press. And if you type in IkariPress.com, it will take you directly to my Indiegogo campaign for my comic book series brand with the phenomenal Kanan White. We're on Amazon. We're on Teesprings. The links to those are in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm out.